What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world, but keep the sky on your mind.
Let's do it.
All right.
All set.
We are live.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another FPVFC Town Hall. With us tonight, we got Rob, Dave, Alex, and Dan, and obviously myself. Blunty will not be joining us this evening. Flooding and power and all the stuff that are going on in the areas where he lives. It's a weak excuse, but it's definitely a good one. A good reason to not be here. So. Our best to Blunty and hope everything's okay. And our best to everybody who's dealing with all that in North Carolina, Tennessee, all those different states there. So, in fact, one of the stories tonight, we'll touch base on that. But before we get started on that, I've got a couple DJI specific things that I want to cover. So let's see. Is that you, Dan, with the fan, or is it me?
Hopefully it's not me. I can mute myself just to be sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that took care of it. All right. So, sorry about that, guys. Tonight, so we've got the Government Accountability Office report, drone restrictions undermine Department of the Interior operations. A new report from the U.S. Government Accountability Office titled Federal Lands Effects of Interior's Policies on Foreign-Made Drones reveals the significant impact that restrictive drone policies have had on the Department of the Interior's operations. In response, DJI, a major drone manufacturer, expressed concerns about these restrictions, emphasizing the consequences of limiting drone use and procurement based on country of origin rather than technological capability. The Government Accountability Office underscores how the DOI's reliance on drones has been critical for managing its 500 million acres of federal lands. Drones have been used for tasks such as wildfire prevention, search and rescue, scientific research. However, since 2020, the Department of the Interior has faced challenges due to restrictions on drones manufactured in adversary nations, grounding non-emergency flights for nearly 3 years. According to the Government Accountability Office, these restrictions have significantly affected Department of Interior operations in several key areas. So, aging drone fleet and rising costs. The majority of the Department of Interior's drone fleet is nearing the end of its lifespan. Replacing these drones with compliant alternatives has proven difficult due to escalating costs and limited availability. The average cost per drone has risen from approximately $2,600 in 2017 to $15,000 in 2023. That's insane. I'm just going to throw that out there. Like, absolutely insane.
I assume the capabilities have also increased, but
well, we'll get to that. But number two, operational limitations. The shrinking number of drones has limited Department of Interior's ability to expand their use for critical operations such as wildfire response and search and rescue. The DOI has had to rely on more costly and riskier alternatives like helicopters, which increase safety risks to personnel. Number three, technological gaps. Compliant drones often lack the technological capabilities needed for specific tasks, such as carrying specialized sensors. Some compliant models have also experienced reliability issues, such as propeller malfunctions. That seems like a small thing to worry about.
Shouldn't they have the propeller issues figured out by now?
Yeah, I mean, one would imagine, but
The report did say that the propeller issues weren't happening anymore. That was just something that happened a while ago, but they still included it in the report.
okay. Well, I feel like there's bigger technological gaps there, but hey, what do I know? Um, So the report also highlights on a loss of opportunities to gather crucial data on wildlife, landscapes, and infrastructure, as the DOI's ability to collect high-resolution imagery has been impaired by drone shortages. DJI's response. DJI, the world's largest drone manufacturer, was quick to respond to the Government Accountability Office findings, stressing that the restrictions imposed on drones based on their country of origin have undermined the DOI's ability to fully leverage the benefits of drone technology. In a statement, DJI noted the Government Accountability Office findings also reaffirm our concerns. Without a balanced approach, the U.S. risks losing vital tools that protect lives and property. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot more here, guys. I'm not going to beat this one to death, but I mean, this is something we talked about a long time ago when we learned that the Department of the Interior were being restricted from DJI, and that was several years ago. Um, and I know they've used DJI drones for things like wildfire control, like they use them to drop fire pellets to create fire breaks and all kinds of different things. But yeah, this is a huge deal and just a small impact on different government offices not being able to use these drones. And I'm sure certain police and fire organizations across the country are facing this kind of thing right now, and it's just a hot mess. So
Yeah,
thoughts, guys?
I imagine we'll also talk about. Rob was reporting earlier today that the Senate version of the NDAA did not include the CCP counter UAS language. This is
Mm-hmm.
really important because now we have a window of opportunity to urge actually both houses. So you're a congressional representative, and both your senators should be urged to make sure that this language is not contained in the reconciled version of the bill. So it's probably going to be the two Senate, the two aviation subcommittees of the House and Senate that will work on this.
Mm-hmm.
This note. I don't have enough experience for one executive branch agency sniping at another, and I get it that the GAO is an accounting organization and it's their job to audit, but this is a scathing commentary to other branches of the executive branch. And so certainly I think this is it would behoove us to reference this piece of work from GAO to Congress as part of the defense of this is why the CCP and the other anti DJI legislation is not helpful. Now, far be it from us to be China apologists. We are certainly we're doing everything we can and work with U.S. companies to help and to make sure that they're well appraised and they're able to get product out the door that's within regulations and requirements. So, we very much want capable products that are competitive with DJI. But if we think, well, it's just the federal government, it is, of course, not just the federal government. Florida and Tennessee have copied the bans on DJI, and people have lost their lives because we're not using the best technology available in public safety. So Josh is absolutely on point when he says that public safety has also been impacted as a knock-on effect to what the Commerce Department took, and of course, they were directed. So this was we have a whole series of bad decisions, and as we say, another bad decision does not make a bad decision better. So this needs to be fixed, and we can draft up the appropriate words now that we have some shape of what's going on, and it's probably going to move somewhat quickly, in as much as the House is only the House and Senate let's see, it's October. It'll be a year late on the NDAA. Pretty embarrassing.
We're
But
right on
yeah,
schedule for the FAA.
yeah, early. Yeah,
Jeez.
exactly.
I mean, here's the touch point, guys. Is that I'm all about competition within drones, and I feel like this is slightly anti-competitive, and we'll kind of touch on that here in a second. But at the same time, if we had compliant drones here in the United States that had the capabilities to do what DJI drones are doing at the cost of what DJI drones are doing, it makes sense. But none of that exists. I mean, you've got some of the top players in drones in the United States, a la Skydio, who don't sell to consumers. They literally don't do it anymore. They stopped doing it, and we'll touch on that here in a second. But yeah, it's just a bad deal all around. So yeah,
Hey,
go ahead,
Josh.
Rob.
Hey, I just wanted to add, I thought it was interesting if you look down at the very bottom of that GAO document, all the individuals that it was submitted to, including the senators that are on the Commerce Committee. So I, at least in my opinion, carry a significant weight, and I'm really glad that people from one government branch are sending it to people in other branches that matter and are part of this decision making.
100%. Yeah, I mean that definitely needs to continue to circulate, and I mean that's the Government Accountability's office, right? That's their job, right? To make these reports, get them to the people who are making these decisions. Hopefully, that's what they're doing, and people are taking it seriously. So. All right, up next, Skydio's controversial pivot, unfair competition through lobbying. So this is coming from Drone XL and Haye over there. In a recent presentation at the Skydio Ascend event, CEO Adam Bry attempted to address mounting criticisms of the company's dramatic shift from consumer drones to the defense and first responder markets. But what he glossed over was the true nature of Skydio's aggressive lobbying efforts against industry leader DJI. While Bry acknowledged Skydio's lobbying team, he downplayed their role in pushing legislation that could effectively ban their biggest competitor. Yes, Skydio does have a lobbying team, Bry admitted, but he claimed their focus was primarily on budgets for our customers to build and scale programs and shaping regulatory frameworks. Well, that kind of includes things like DJI bans. What he didn't mention was how these efforts are aimed at creating an uneven playing field, potentially pushing out DJI, a company that has consistently delivered capable, affordable drones to a wide range of users. Skydio's pivot goes beyond mere marketing reposition. It's a calculated strategy to reshape the U.S. drone landscape through aggressive lobbying and regulation, rather than solely competing on product merit. Once celebrated for its AI-powered consumer drones, Skydio has become one of the loudest voices calling for restrictions on Chinese-made drones, particularly industry leader DJI. This approach raises serious concerns about fair competition and future innovation in the drone sector. He goes on to say, while national security is a valid concern, Skydio tactics blur the line between protecting American interests and stifling competition. So, I don't have any idea of what Skydio is doing in terms of lobbying to block out DJI. However, it seems a little fishy to a certain point, and I'm really struggling with the anti-competition and the inability to provide capable drones on the same scale that DJI does, and it's kind of a sticking point for me that they are pushing this without relevant alternatives to provide to not just first responders and government and defense, but to the regular users. And it's tough when you can right now get these drones, but in the future you may not be able to. And in fact, I had a conversation with somebody at my workplace with a customer, and he is thinking about literally just buying up DJI drones as quickly as he can within his financial capabilities to safeguard his business, really, against not being able to get these. And so, I mean, it's tough. I mean, so yeah. Thoughts, guys, on this one?
We know that there are a lot of great people working at Skydio. We work with them on the ASTM projects on drone safety team. So they have they do a lot of good things around the industry. This is one that troubles us. It's also an interesting view that NVIDIA is in the news. Of course, an amazing company with their GPUs, and it's one of the GPUs that's used as the swept processor for all of Skydio's work. Of course, a U.S. design but manufactured in Taiwan. So they're a pretty amazing technological company, yet they don't have the volume that DJI does. So I guess this is a way they tried to make sure that they had a business model that worked for them. So I understand what they're doing. Yeah, it's Josh and I are on the same page as usual on this one. This is we don't think it's a great way to go about it. Certainly, they were given a very hard time in the Florida legislature, and it's to me a little. The optics are not real good. That one of the governmental affairs folks in Skydio came from Elise Stefanik's office in Congress. So, very very cozy relationship there.
All right, one more DJI, and then I'll let DJI rest for tonight, guys. So this is coming from Drone DJ. DJI mulls U.S. manufacturing amid drone ban threat, won't exit market. So in a recent Reddit Ask Me Anything, Adam Welsh, DJI's global head of policy, candidly addressed the company's stance on evolving U.S. legislation, data security concerns, and a potential ban on the sale of future DJI drones in America. Welsh's response to the most pressing question, will DJI abandon the U.S. market, is a clear no. Despite rising tension, the tech giant remains committed to maintaining operations and exploring avenues to secure its foothold. Welsh spoke on the looming impact of legislation like the Countering CCP Drones Act, which, if passed, could add DJI to the FCC's covered list, preventing the company from getting necessary certifications for new products. It may not immediately impact current drone fleets, but if made retroactive, it could restrict DJI drone usage even for those already purchased, he explained. DJI is actively lobbying to avoid such outcome, but acknowledges the possibility of reevaluating its strategy if a ban is imposed. One of the most interesting topics in the AMA discussion was whether DJI could establish U.S.-based manufacturing to address concerns about data security and Chinese ownership. Welsh revealed that the company has already explored setting up U.S. manufacturing lines and servers. However, he stressed that significant costs would be passed on to customers, while not necessarily guaranteeing a permanent solution. Excuse me. The U.S. government is many-headed, he remarked. We might appease some parts, but not all, in which case we would have gone through a very expensive lengths only to find ourselves still facing legislation intent on banning us from the market. And those costs would have to get passed on to our customers. He said DJI does a number of things well. One is innovation, but another is focusing on bringing manufacturing costs down as much as possible. Changes to our business would end up costing customers. So, thoughts on if a U.S. based manufacturing would be successful for DJI?
Yeah, as we know, DJI spent the money to create a clean room set of software for the Department of Commerce. And so the concern at the time, and this goes back about 3 years, the concern at the time was that data and information was going back to China. So what DJI did in conjunction with the Department of Commerce is they rewrote the entire stack of code and got it running and operational. And then the Department of Commerce turned around and said, nah, we don't care. We're just going to ban your drones anyway. So I think it's absolutely fair that DJI would be a little gun shy about spending millions of dollars to do something when there's no agreement and no assurance from the United States that they're not going to be scapegoated.
Yeah, I agree. And there's, since the people who are really pushing for this can't really show concrete evidence as to what they're afraid of, there's no way that whatever they do is going to satisfy them. They're going to continue
Right.
to use this as a reason to push legislation or whatever their agenda is. So
Right. China bad. That's the objective. Of course, the more recent. Go ahead, Rob.
I was just going to say, my personal opinion here, if cybersecurity is the true concern here, if we're really worried about these aircraft being used for malicious purposes to exploit data, about territory over here, then my opinion on that is it doesn't matter where it's manufactured, it should meet the same standards. So my preference would be that some type of cybersecurity standards are set, they're specified, and then all this funding that would go back to grants and enforcement and everything else would be used to test and verify all manufacturers, whether they're blue or not. So it just doesn't make any sense for me to manufacture the exact same product here. That doesn't negate any of the quote cybersecurity concerns.
Right. And one of the, to me, a clever next path is, of course, that for DJI to have taken is Anzu. And Anzu is a company out of Syracuse, New York, a U.S. company, and they're working, as we've described, with Aloft. And anytime that there was an action that took information and sent it back to any DJI server anywhere, what Aloft has done is intercepted that, and it goes into a server under Aloft's control in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a clever, and the Anzu device is hardware that's licensed by DJI and software that is licensed. So it's the full stack minus any code that communicates back to DJI servers. So we'll see if how the market responds to Anzu.
So this is an interesting point. So he said security audits and new privacy controls were highlighted as some of DJI's initiatives to lead the drone industry toward improved practices. Welsh called for objective standards, stating that in the absence of objective standards, Congress keeps reaching for blunt tools, such as country of origin bans. This is bad for the whole industry. He pointed out that drones manufactured in allied countries are not inherently more secure, underlining the need for comprehensive industry standards. So definitely some interesting points there. And it's like, in the absence of any true data, like Dan was saying, it's just like, we're just going to go ahead and say China bad, replay the Red Scare of, 50 years ago and go straight from there. So
if someone's worried about the data from your drone going to China, what's stopping the Chinese government from giving Skydio some money to send some data to China?
Or even just intercepting it. I mean, there's hacker groups all around the world, right? I mean, let's be real. So anyway, all right, I'll stop on the DJI stuff. I know it can be a downer, so we'll move on to some interesting stuff. So I feel like it was just last week we had a record-breaking drone show. So now, also in Shenzhen, we have 10,000 drone swarm instead of, I think the last one was like 8,000 something. So just 2 weeks later, we've got another one. So 10,000 drone swarm makes a high def screen in the sky.
They just have to keep adding a few drones here and there so they can always keep saying breaking the record, and then there's more news about it.
Yeah, 100%. So, I actually attended the one in Mansfield. What was that, Saturday?
Yeah.
Yep. So I didn't realize it had been broken again. Wow.
It's insane. So who knows? It's just a constant thing. I'm not going to take this beyond that. But when it comes to what's going on in terms of the flooding and that kind of thing, so this is a definite drones for good. It's got a little bit of a funny in it too. So this comes out of Chuckey, Tennessee. It's not only communication that's cut off after Helene, but some communities where roads are still impassable are having a hard time getting access to life-saving medication. Imagine driving over this bridge to get home to your wife, and minutes later it collapses. After they made it home, the couple then discovered another potentially life-threatening problem. In need of insulin with no cell phone service, power, or water, and no way out, the Scots found the one way to get in touch with a friend. My husband had radioed out to one of his partners on shift. I'm assuming he's a police or first responder. And that was the only way we were able to get out. That friend, a fellow firefighter, there you go, firefighter, met up with Madeline's parents who picked up the insulin from the pharmacy. We went to the shortest bridge possible that we knew of, and you could actually see them on the other side, and they could see us. From the other side of that collapsed bridge, the friends used a drone to carry insulin across, along with a little comic relief in a stressful situation. They sent over a can of dip along with his insulin. So there you
how
go.
many FAA regulations did they violate to make this happen?
I don't know, but you know what? Possibly save somebody's life and
Yes,
possibly
totally
somebody's
worth it.
sanity. So,
But I'm
So
pretty
it-
sure it's against a bunch of regulations to have done that.
And
it probably is.
an interesting aspect of Tennessee, they were the only state not to declare a state of emergency because they did not want interference from the federal government. So Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and others declared a state of emergency. FEMA is sending in millions of bottles of water, millions of meals. The military's gone in, so there has been a large-scale movement of federal assistance to the states that have declared a state of emergency. So, pretty interesting that's great that these folks in Tennessee are helping each other out. It's pretty bizarre that their state government is not helping their citizens of Tennessee.
Interesting. All right, so we got a new drone delivery scheme. So we've got robot to drone delivery service launches in Dallas. Rob, you're going to have to give us some updates on this if you see this. But Wing is teaming up with Serve Robotics to take autonomous deliveries to a new level in Texas. The drone delivery provider owned by Google parent Alphabet and the Sidewalk Bot delivery specialists are partnering to offer a novel solution they claim could redefine entire last-minute delivery sector. Their new pilot in Dallas will see the launch of an innovative new robot-to-drone service, in which food ordered from participating restaurants will be picked up at the curbside by a serve bot and then taken to a Wing drone autoloader a few blocks away for aerial delivery to customers located anywhere within 6 miles. So this is an interesting pivot because it requires less infrastructure in terms of the restaurant or the business itself. They don't have to put drone pads up or anything like that. They're just handing it off to this little ground-based robot, and then it's getting delivered to a kind of outpost where they're taking it by air. So pretty unique little thought. But while the pilot will provide an interesting and swift way for customers to access meals, arguably the greater benefit will be for the vendors and restaurant owners who will be able to take advantage of drone deliveries without having to alter their way of working, install new equipment, or adapt their buildings. So pretty interesting little thought there.
So Google Wing has done over 400,000 deliveries in the last 3 years, and this is a division of Google that is interested in providing the entire ecosystem to folks. So to me, this is absolutely right in line with their strategy. They have some super smart engineers, and they are the aircraft that they've designed is brilliant and effective, and has flown, as I say, over 400,000 deliveries outside of the United States, and now they're just starting inside the United States. Why did they start in Australia? Because the FAA was not quick in providing type certification for the airframe.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I just hope that they're not delivering hot food or warm food, because the package is not enclosed in the aircraft, and that heat transfer is going to make that food cold.
Well, it's in Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Does it ever get cold in Dallas?
No, but that even just the ambient air temperature is going to cool down the food inside the box if there's no insulation on that box.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I've had.
Speaking of the
I've had
weather, speaking of the,
warm-
go
supposed
ahead.
to be warm food. I've had supposed to be warm food from drone delivery before. It was cold.
Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, speaking of weather, Josh, I might make you a little jealous here. We had a cold front move through here in Texas. It's 88 degrees today.
Yeah, you can kiss my behind. It's 113 here, so y'all can go pound sand with your cool weather and crap.
A cold front.
Jeez.
Yeah, it'll be
You can-
in the high 30s Friday morning here, I think.
I'm not envious of that, but you know. But speaking of Minnesota, so a little comic relief to round out our articles tonight. So Minnesota inventors poop copter.
I didn't
Scoops
even know
dog
the story was from Minnesota.
dog poo after scanning from the sky. So tagline is it's full of crap. So a Minnesota inventor has created the world's first aerial bound dog poop removal system. A gizmo he's dubbed the poop copter. Conceived by scientist Caleb Olson, the drone is able to remotely patrol for doggy doo in specific areas defined by users like a backyard or open field. The device detects the mess in real time and then picks it up. It's fully self-guided, fully capable of retrieving poop from grass, and it's full of crap, Olson told British Outlet. Once the drone performs a precision landing on top of poop, all the drone needs to do is rotate 30 degrees to close the mechanism, picking up the poop. Once the drone performs a precision landing, let's see, I already did that. After the dog log is secured, the machine flies the poop to a designated drop-off locations or spins around fast enough midair that the payload can be dumped anywhere. So this is the drone. It's a standard FPV drone, and he's manufactured this kind of little cone that has these leaves on it. That when the drone spins, it closes the leaves on the drone.
Clever.
Or on the pickup device. It's got a camera inside the little dome thing, and then it just needs to land and rotate back 30 degrees, and it opens up those leaves. Or you can yacht really fast in the sky and dump it in your neighbor's yard if you feel like. So, I mean,
So how does it identify where the excrement is? Is it using a thermal
Well,
differentiator?
on that picture, I see a couple of dots. So there's got to be
yeah,
some
it's
sort of
using some kind of
visual-
AI or something.
Also, isn't that hazardous materials and can't really transport hazardous materials with drones?
Ooh, good catch.
Depends what the
Oh,
dog is.
Valid point. Yeah, valid point, Alex. Maybe they need to go back to the UGVs. You know, they call them a Pumbaa, like the Roombas, right?
Yeah,
So you can see the device there.
and that looks like a camera.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's got little spikes, so it sort of sticks into the ground. So when the drone spins, the base doesn't
It's
spin.
stationary. Yep. So
I was thinking it might use laser and chemical detection, but so this is only it works better if you only let your little pup out at night, so there can be a better thermal gradient.
I don't know, but
Just hold on,
it's
just hold on
fine.
for a couple more hours. It's okay, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
So
So
trackers in your dog's food, so when it comes out the other end, you can find
oh,
it.
goodness.
Seems like you'd have to
Trackers.
clean the camera once in a while.
You might. It depends on the size of the poo, right? So I mean,
Okay,
if you got a Rottweiler, maybe not the one you want. So, but yeah.
You just
So
have
I
to
thought
hold
that
it
was pretty
bigger.
funny.
that's great. Yeah, a little bigger. Yeah. Well, this is good. I mean, drones for good.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, you got anything for us tonight, sir?
I don't. Been working on cars and running around, and so I have not been behind the scenes some work, but nothing to report on this evening.
Dan, what about you? You got anything for us?
No, the only interesting thing I saw was the dog poop story.
I stole it from you. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
All right, Alex, you got anything for us, brother?
Not really, except I guess they
Races.
released the champs track for the global championships this year. New style of LED gates for night flying and making them a little bit more three-dimensional. And
Nice.
we'll also, and so yeah, the global champs is going to be in about, October 20 something ish.
Coming up.
I don't know when exactly. That during that week, I don't know. I don't remember which days. I just know I'll be racing 2 of those days.
Good,
Fair.
good.
I'll be
Alex-
there, but I don't know when.
Alex, what's
It's on my
the?
calendar. When the day pops up, I'll just go to the airport.
There's a virtual whoop race. It's a funny name. It's evading me. Is that multi GP?
Oh,
Ugao?
yeah. Oh, IGAO,
IGAO.
International Game of Whoop.
That's it.
I don't believe that's not multi GP.
Okay. So not something you're participating in.
I have not. I don't really
Okay.
fly tiny whoops too much.
Uh-huh. But it's I know that it has started, and so another racing aspect.
Mhm.
Also, Jesse Perkins did a fantastic review of the new HD0 setup. It's a all-in-one, pretty amazing, as Carl Zhao has described. It's likely the most sophisticated chip on any FPV right now. So he did a sweep of a number of different processors, and about a year in the making. So we have pretty cool technology at the Whoop level. And it's 19.2 grams if memory suits for the race version, and a little heavier for the freestyle version. So I'm an HD0 fanboy. I'm a Carl Zhao fan. We owe Carl Zhao a lot of thanks, because it's millions of dollars that he has personally invested into FPV to create an ASIC that drives the goggles and allows for very cool digital as well as enhanced analog on HD0 goggles.
So I
Yeah,
assume
and
that
go
little
ahead,
video transmitter works with the current crop of goggles and everything. It's just they've gotten it really small and light so that it can be put on a whoop.
It does, and it appears to be a full HD0 signal, whereas the Eco was, it also worked with the existing HD0 goggles, but it was not the full-blown.
That was more of an analog-ish signal.
Exactly.
The camera,
Yeah.
It was a composite instead of the HD0 like MIPI format, all that stuff. So
So this one, no MIPI cable, it's all integrated, but it's it is an all-on-one board, including the ESC.
Nice.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Plus, this, big risk, right? You blow an ESC, you blew the whole board, but the cost point was pretty attractive. So.
Yeah. Cool. Rob, you got anything for us this evening, sir?
Just one quick bit. DJI released the firmware in the not too recent past to allow the Goggles 3, the brand new goggles that dropped with the Avata 2, to have backwards compatibility with the OcuSync 3, the O3 Air unit. Yes, but don't get excited yet. In with Matt's Tech, you subscribe to him. He just put out a big PSA. He's been very vocal about it. Apparently, even though it's compatible, there are lots of documented cases of complete signal loss, and people are losing aircraft. So until the issue's resolved, Ian is recommending people do not fly the O3 unit with the G3 goggles. They're recommending to stick with Integras or the G2s in the interim until that issue's resolved.
Right. Joshua Bardwell and Blunty have also raised the same PSA. So, yeah, I mean, those are sources that we trust. Madstack with Ian and Joshua Bardwell and Blunty. So if you're thinking of using an O3 Air unit with those goggles that Rob mentioned, please don't.
Be careful.
Yeah, don't right now. And as one guy said, well, I used it. I got 10 flights and it went great. And I was like, yeah.
It's the 11th that gets you.
That's right. That's it. Just one more pack. Let me just
It's last
one
pack
more
syndrome.
pack.
Yep,
That's it.
100%. It's always the last pack that kills you.
Yep.
Oh, jeez. All right, thanks for that, Rob. All right, guys. Well, with that, I will give you back a couple minutes of your evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we'll catch you in another 2 weeks. And we'll see you then. Thanks for joining us this evening. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Take care.
what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Flying, get on board. We're smiling on top of the world. Dangerous times, don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world, but keep the sky on your mind.